Hello everybody and welcome to Edshed. Today we are taking a look at Guild Wars 2, and yes, I appreciate that this isn't Guild Wars 2 you're looking at currently. It's in fact the GW2TP website, and that stands of course for Guild Wars 2 Trading Post website. And the reason that we're looking at this is because this video is all about making money and making money by flipping objects. Now this is something that I've done 2 videos I believe on already. And a few people keep asking me the question, what do they do if the item won't sell? Well, there isn't a good answer to that, I'm afraid. If an item really won't sell, then maybe you'll have to take a loss on it. But what I'm going to try and explain in this video is some of the more advanced thoughts behind flipping and how you can try and avoid losing your money. So how you can pick the items that are least likely to not sell, and also pick perhaps some of the cheaper items. In the past I've always talked about the high-end armor and the high-end weapons, so this is going to be looking at some of the cheaper items which seem to now have a reasonable amount of profit you can be making on them. And as I say, we're going to look at how we actually go about making profit from these and prevent ourselves from losing money going forwards. So the first bit that we're going to take a look at is the Shards of Glory. Now this is something that I've actually been trading myself on the Guild Wars 2 trading post, and purely out of interest really to see how stable these prices were, and they all seem reasonably stable now. If we take a look at this chart here, this is one of the most important things that we're going to use in this video, and this is over the period of a month. You see, you can select today where the price has been. The blue price is what people are selling it for. The red price is what people are buying it for, and then we can also select week and month. And ideally for items that we're going to sort of be flipping on the Guild Wars 2 trading post, we want something that's reasonably flat like this. I appreciate that there's a bit of a dip here, but it still remains reasonably steady and reasonably level. And the idea behind what we're going to do is we are going to pick a sort of price along here, along the red line, that it seems to keep breaking below, that we're willing to buy it at. So in this case, we can see that it quite often reaches below sort of 18. So if we say we're willing to buy it at 18 coppers, and then if we look at the blue price, the price that we're going to sell these items once we've bought them, so we want to look for the points at which it regularly gets to, and you know, it quite comfortably gets to around about 30, 29, you know, we're just getting a general feel for it. So if we say that we're happy to sell these at 28, because it regularly breaks above the 28, and that's quite frankly as simple as what we're actually doing gets. But now I'm going to spend just a little bit of time explaining why we're doing this and what the thought process is. So the thought process behind what we're doing is, obviously we want to buy something cheaper than we sell it and make a profit on it. Now there needs to be a significant enough distance between what we buy it at and what we sell it at that we can cover the cost of actually selling on the Guild Wars 2 trading post. And that's where sort of this website comes in handy, because we can search for profit, and that will give us a percentage value of what money we stand to make trading that particular item on here. Now the reason that we're using this graph in effect, and what we look for with it, is because it gives us the historical prices of it. And with the way Guild Wars is currently, where the economy is reasonably settled into the patterns, things don't move that much, and that's why we look for these like nice I want to say what's called ranging charts, so they just go sideways as opposed to up or down. If it was moving in an upwards direction, that would also be fantastic, because it would mean that every time we buy it, we could potentially sell it for even more than we are. Unfortunately, in the state that Guild Wars 2 is in currently, where players are sadly leaving the community, it's unlikely you're going to find many items that are moving up in price. So we simply want to find items that are holding their value as opposed to falling. And that is something that is a bit of a concern, but we'll probably have to cover why prices are falling in Guild Wars 2 and the state of Guild Wars 2 in a later video. Now, the reason that we don't pick the very peak of the high price to sell, and the reason we don't pick the very lowest point of the buy price to purchase it at, is because we want to have some confirmation that the price gets lower than that, so therefore people have been willing to sell at the price that we're putting it at. And we want confirmation that people have been willing to buy items at a higher price than we're selling it at. And that's the context that this graph actually gives us, and why it's very valuable for us to use this particular graph. Hello everybody, so now we are back in Guild Wars 2 to actually take a look and put in practice what we've just been discussing. And as you can see here in my delivery box, I've got a nice little bit of gold that I've earned selling these, and I've also got a load that I've been purchasing for a significantly lower price. Now I've bought all of these at 18 copper. And when I come to sell them, I've been selling them at 26 copper. Now, this means that I earn around about 30% on each one, which means that if I was to invest 10 gold in purchasing them, I could earn, or I would hopefully have back by the end of it, 13 gold. Sorry, trying to click on buttons and do maths at the same time is something I'm apparently not capable of doing. So now I'm putting these up for sale at 26 copper, and we'll hopefully, before this video's even finished, start to see some money rolling back in. Now, one of the things that you can also probably see is currently the highest order is at 17 copper, so this is higher than mine were previously, and there is a massive order for them here, which means that if I continue to put my orders in at 16, I'm unlikely to continue purchasing these items. And what you will find with items like this is that slowly these gaps will get more and more closed up, and this closing of the gap will reduce the amount of profit you can make on them. So it's valuable and incredibly important that you learn how to find new items that you can make money from, and that will be sort of the next bit that I cover in this video. But I'm just going to quickly put this up for sale as well. Now I'm taking a decision there. I don't know if you saw, if we go back to it. The lowest price that people are selling for is 25 copper, so that's lower than mine. So these will have to sell first before mine it's sold. But there's only 375 listed there, so I'm confident that people will buy through this 375. So somebody will be willing to buy all of these, or multiple people will buy all of these, and then eventually they will start to buy my ones, and it's at that point I will start to make a profit on them. So yeah, without that covers up how you actually put this into practice, and we will now look at how you can find your own items that you can use, because obviously by the time you're watching this, it may be that Shards of Glory are no longer profitable, or it may be that everybody on this video decides to trade Shards of Glory and you all compete with one another, and this causes them to also have no profitability for any of us in them. So yeah, we will go on to that bit right now. Okay, so now we are back on the GW2 TP website, the link for which will be in the descriptions below, but that is literally the website URL. And we have, I've set these values here. I've set the buy price as a maximum of 2 silver and 15 copper, and the maximum amount of profit as 33%. Now, this value here, the profit maximum value, is the most important one you're really going to have to set. And you at no point want it really going above maybe 60. And even then, that's quite risky. And the reason that you don't want it going above that, right, is, let's say we were to take it out and just take a quick look at the results we get. You can see here, right, we've got this recipe for Satchel of Ravaging Outlaw Armor. Apparently, we can have a 339,000% profit on it. Well, I'm going to tell you that nobody is selling it for 40 copper, and I'm telling you that there's very few people that are actually buying it for 15 gold. And that's something you really need to look out for. If it looks too good to be true, it probably is. And in these sort of situations, looking at, you know, having an understanding of the game is important. This axe here, which is just called axe, certainly nobody's selling it. Well, maybe people are selling it at that price. Nobody's buying it at 50 gold. Unless axe has an amazing skin, which it probably doesn't. In fact, let's check the wiki. Yeah, I'm not willing to part for 50 gold for that. So it's really, you know, you need to be sensible about it. And one of the things that's going to help you eliminate most of this trash is by setting a max value. I tend to go for 33%, but you can of course go for more or less depending on your own sort of risk tolerance. Equally, it needs to be a positive number, you know, so you might as well put a minimum as 10% because you need to actually make your money on it, the item. Now, going through all of the figures and stuff on here, the second sort of most important figure on here is the supply and the demand. Right? And the supply and demand are important because you need to know that there's enough people selling it and that there's enough people wanting to buy it that you're actually going to be able to trade the items. If there's only 2 people in all of the Guild Wars servers that are interested in purchasing it, and there's nobody that's actually making it, then you're never going to be able to buy them, and you've got nobody to sell them to. So, you know, making sure that there is a high supply and demand is important. I would generally, on weapons, the supply and demand can be, it can be less. Certainly the supply can be less, but I would look for at a minimum. Certainly on consumable items, there to be at least 1,000 in both, preferably sort of 10,000. The spool of cotton thread, that's got the right sort of supply and demand. But spool of cotton thread, that brings me on nicely to sort of the next bit. And the next bit is having an understanding of the game and knowing that, you know, with spools of cotton thread, you can, or you don't necessarily need to purchase them from the trading post. So I doubt very much that anybody's actually buying them from the trading post, and that's going to make them very difficult for you to actually sell. And a similar story somewhat for like the common dyes. There's very few people that are actually wanting to purchase them. There's very few people that, or there's a reasonable amount of people that are selling them. You may just have to have a play with them. I would generally avoid them, and I would recommend you doing the same, but at the end of the day, it's your choice on that one. I also am not a big fan of low level armors. People, yes, do purchase them, but I feel like there is there's not a consistent market, with most players now having level 80 characters, and very few people re-leveling new characters, or they can just boost straight to 80. There doesn't seem to be a massive need for these sort of low level weapons and armors, so I can't really see there being much point in purchasing them. Now, the way to get around that is you can watch my old videos on how to sort of trade the exotic level 80 armors, or you can look for things such as this Vial of Blood. Now, the likelihood is people are still going to need to purchase the Vial of Blood, because even at level 80, people want to do new crafting professions, or for other reasons, people will want these crafting materials. And that means that there is going to be people buying them and people selling them. And here we can see we've got a reasonable sort of gap between them. There's 30% profit. There's loads of people buying, loads of people selling. For me, that is something I would be happy to trade. So we will click into that and we can see this chart. And if we go for the month one, we can see that this is literally a straight line. It couldn't get much more perfect than that. So I would say that I would be happy to purchase this for 11, maybe 12 copper, and I would be happy to sell it for 20, maybe 21 copper, dependent upon sort of how I was feeling and you know, the sort of the supply and demand levels that you can see up here. So yeah, purchasing at 12 would be fine. There isn't a massive order there already. There isn't even a massive order at 11 if you wanted to wait around so you could buy them at 11. And on the sell, somebody has put it at 14, but that's going to be gone in seconds. 22, it probably isn't going to last very long either. And this one here at 23, that's also going to go through pretty quickly. But I'd probably put it at 22. I'd probably even put it at 21 just so that I was the first thing to start selling once it got past 14. So hopefully that's cleared things up a little bit. If people do have any more questions, please leave them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them when I see them. So there should be more Guild Wars 2 videos coming out on a Monday. So please make sure to subscribe, and until then, I will see you around. Actually, before I go, I've just decided to quickly show you my transaction history so you can see as well that obviously I'm telling the truth and you know that this is what's happening. So we got the Shards of Glory. I was initially buying them at 19, but then I realized I could probably get them at 18 and still be fine, and I was selling them at 27. So I continued to buy them at 18, buy, and then I was selling at 27, buy, sell, buy, etc. So you can see from this that, you know, I was purchasing at 18 and selling at 27, which netted me a nice little profit.